The Nigeria police says it lost 22 officers as well as 205 police stations across the country during the recent protest by young Nigerians against the excesses of the now disbanded Special Anti-Robbery Squad. A statement issued by Force Public Relations Officer, Assistant Commissioner of Police Frank Mba, sought to distance the force from Amnesty International's allegations that during the protests, its officers committed gross human rights abuses against the protesters. However, the fallout of the #EndSARS protests have also emphasized the need for the Nigerian government to devote more time and resources to improving the current living and working conditions of members of the police force. A comprehensive reform of the police is also being advocated. Joining us now is Ekpu, veteran journalist, member of the Police Service Commission, and founder, one of the co-founders of Newswatch magazine. Good morning, sir, and thank you for joining us on The Morning Show. Good morning, Mr. Ekpu. Thank you for joining us on The Morning Show.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, sir. Well, very quickly, we would like to ask you what you think of the #EndSARS protests that crippled Nigeria for about 2 weeks, particularly in the southern part of the country, and that resulted in very ugly fallouts in terms of how the state authorities responded. And you have been a member of the Police Service Commission for such a long time. What do you make of police performance and the allegation of police brutality?
Thank you very much. The issues for me concern the disposition of the police towards accepting civil authority. The police must accept civil authority for us to succeed. Number two, the police must have respect for human life. Those are the two crucial issues I would like to talk about. The police in all organizations respect civil authority, particularly in democracies. But maybe because of the nature, the progress that our police have made, the trajectory where it's coming from after many years of military rule, our police have failed to accept civil authority. That is why you have crises in several states. The police commissioner will be facing the governor and insulting the governor, who is, by our constitution, supposed to be the chief security officer of the state. But it's an anomalous democracy because you can't have a governor as chief security officer of the state and he's not in charge of the security. He's only in charge of the security in name, but where you have a police commissioner that is hostile to him, he will not have peace. He will not maintain security in the place. So that boils down to what kind of police architecture we ought to have. A single police arrangement has not worked. It cannot work. The 2014 National Conference deliberated on this and decided to recommend state police as the second-tier police system in the country. And it was a deliberation that was accepted unanimously. 490-something people representing different constituencies, all the states of Nigeria, civil society, retired permanent secretaries, retired military and police people, they accepted this recommendation, which is embedded in the 2014 National Conference, that we should have a second-tier police system, that is state police. Even the ruling party itself decided, after a clamor by the public, that it should implement true federalism which is in its manifesto. It decided to set up the Nasser El-Rufai Committee that went around the country, spoke to people in all the different zones, and produced a report. That report is gathering dust in somebody's office. In that report, there is an overwhelming demand for state police. And those who wrote the report recommended it. I remember very vividly that when the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osibanjo, was acting president of the country, he said to the public, yes, we accept this report. Nigeria is too big a country to be run by a single police system. That made sense to me, and I thought we were going in the right direction. But as we speak now, nothing has happened in that respect. We're still moving in circles, looking for alternatives. But all democracies that I know, all federal systems, whether you're talking about America or Canada or Australia or Germany, they have multiple police systems. Some have 3 police systems, but a minimum of 2 work. The federal single police system in Nigeria has not worked, and it is not likely to work. That is part of the problem. The federal government does not have the ability to recruit enough people to man all of the 36 states and the federal capital territory alone. That is why you've had agitations in various parts of the country. You've had Katsina State negotiating with bandits and saying, we pay you money, stop fighting us, stop killing our people. That is a big, big shame, because the primary duty of any government is to take care of lives and property and provide welfare for its people. So we have failed in that respect. There are bandits all over the place. Kidnapping has become a major profession. And we haven't shown enough desire to protect Nigerians. Otherwise, there will be no dodging this issue of state police. The people who decided it were not deciding it for the PDP. It wasn't a PDP problem. It was a national problem. And you can only solve it by looking at it dispassionately. If we decide not to have state police, we'll just keep moving in circles the way we are moving. And it's not helping us. That is why various groups in the country are now saying, okay, we can defend ourselves. If you leave the setting open and people have to resort to self-help, that means that the government has failed in its primary duty. That is why you have the Southwest government setting up a Motekun. It's a tacit admission that the present system has not worked. That is a tacit admission that the present security arrangement of one police for all the states has not worked.
Yes,
and then the government said, okay, the state...
Excuse, sir, can you hear me? Can you hear me, sir?
I'm hearing you.
I'd like to come in here, sir. The limitations of the present system are manifest, but I'd like you to address a very immediate pressing problem that we have now with the low morale of the police force and what can be done about that. What is the way forward? Because you'll recall the NSAS protests were initially meant to be a catalyst to transform and reform the police force. But all that has happened with the violent aftermath and the fatalities that the police force has recorded is that the police force feel beleaguered, they feel besieged, and have practically down tools at this point. What is the way forward with regards to police morale?
The Nigerian police is not trained to be civil. So first thing is that there must be more training for the police. The Nigeria police trained to be civil. They just train them for a few weeks, a few months, and then give them arms. I don't think that police at the lower level should carry arms. Arms means that if it is in your hands and the policeman is not disciplined, he will kill somebody with it. And a lot has happened. They call it accidental discharge. If it is not accidental discharge, the policeman uses anger and kills somebody. That life cannot be replaced. It is irreplaceable. So the gun in a policeman's hands must be in the hands of a disciplined policeman. And I think that it should not be given to the lower ranks. It should be given to more senior people who have the discipline, the training, and the mannerisms of how to run a police force in a democracy. There hasn't been much value placed on human life in Nigeria. In those many years ago, Dr. Tai Solarin used to go around and pick corpses on the roads and go and bury. That was a shame, a very shameful thing that happened to this country. We still haven't given that level of respect to human life. That is why people would be demonstrating quietly, peacefully, sitting on the ground, waving flags, singing the national anthem, and people will go and shoot them because there was a curfew. If there was a curfew and people violated the curfew, all that you needed to do was to arrest them and prosecute them, not to go and shoot them. If you go and shoot people who are sitting on the floor and holding the flag and singing the national anthem, it does not show respect for human life. Look at what the Americans have done. One single individual who was captured either in Nigeria or in the Niger Republic, they moved troops, they moved everything, they moved American superpower to make sure that that single American is retrieved from the jaws of death. That is a lesson to us. We may not have the power, the technology, and the money that America has, but we can still demonstrate that we love our citizens. The life of every citizen is important. We haven't shown that. We haven't demonstrated that since the beginning of this republic. Since 1999, we haven't shown that. The government went and wiped out OD and the people and the resources and so on. It has happened so many times. So we must emphasize that our security forces, whether they're armed forces or police, must show utmost respect for human life. Right. There must be a strong human rights system in the police and the armed forces. Right now, there isn't. They just do what they think they have to do. Okay. That is why the reforms have been slow. That is why you have the police, top hierarchy of the police, disrespecting the Police Service Commission and contesting the powers of the Police Service Commission. Okay, it should not happen.
If you can hear me, sir, if I can come in here. You've been a member of the Police Service Commission. What has been your experience at the Police Service Commission? And can you just, tell us again what the Police Service Commission should be doing?
Hello?
Can you hear me, sir? Hello, sir?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? I said, you've been a member of the Police Service Commission. Can you tell me your experience? And can you just tell us once again what the Police Service Commission should be doing, to forestall this occurrence of police brutality and the likes that we are seeing in society?
I'm hearing.
Can you hear me, sir?
I'm not hearing.
Okay, let me repeat my question, sir. I said, you have been a member of the Police Service Commission. What has your experience been? And what should the Police Service Commission be doing against, all this misdemeanor of the police force or some police officers?
Oh, boy.
Can you hear me, sir? Okay. I mean, maybe I could just get one of my colleagues to... once again, if you can hear me, you have been a member of the Police Service Commission, sir. What should the commission be doing to stop these cases of misdemeanor of police officers, sir? Okay, so we'll just, look at things as they pan out and take his comments. But that's a very vital question I want to ask, because I want to ask that particularly because a lot of people are so quick to say, oh, the Police Service Commission should be doing X, Y, Z. But the Police Service Commission, a lot of people say to a large extent, too, might have reported cases or they might have submitted these cases of infraction to the Police Service Commission. But like you said, they are handicapped.
Yes.
The Police Service Commission is responsible for recruitment, welfare, and discipline of police officers.
Voila.
They have the Establishment Act, which details what their
But
functions
the main problem has always been that successive Inspector Generals of Police have always tried to disobey, disregard the Police Service Commission. But two things have been in play. One, the personality of whoever is the chairman or chairperson of the Police Service Commission and the relationship with the Inspector General of Police. The Police Service Commission is like the board, except that it has powers that the Inspector General of Police would also like to exercise. And then, of course, recently we saw the Inspector General of Police and the Police Service Commission going to court, all the way to the Supreme Court. And with the Supreme Court saying that under the law, it is the Police Service Commission that has the powers over recruitment, promotion, and discipline.
But this is the thing, it's clear in the Act. I don't understand that
and that's why,
and that's
why I'm asking that question, because it's great to raise the point about constables. That case that went all the way to the Supreme Court. It's great also, we even talk about SARS, because when this issue of SARS started, the regular refrain on the mouth of a lot of people is, where is the Police Service Commission? We've reported cases, they claim they have investigated. Why have we not seen punishments?
But it's about the conflict between the office of the IGP and the PSC.
There needs to be an amendment.
If you have two bodies that are fighting each other, and then there's a third leg, which is the Ministry of Police Affairs.
Great.
At a point, the committee of retired Inspector Generals of Police had to write a report to the President to recommend that the Ministry of Police Affairs should be scrapped, because you now had battle on three
legs.
And I guess that is why President Buhari decided not to appoint a Ministry of Police Affairs.
It wasn't some
it's a very big story. And,
okay. So, sir, if you can hear me now, we're talking about the Police Service Commission. You are a member of the Police Service Commission. The Police Service Commission has got its roles as regards recruitment and even discipline of police officers. What has your experience been? And what has the Police Service Commission been doing to stop these misdemeanors we see by SARS or FSARS on the road?
Even in our days, the Police Service Commission had problems with some of the inspectors general of police, because they would come and tell the chairman of the Police Service Commission that the president wants this, he wants so commissioner of police posted to this state or posted from this state. And they will suggest that it's an emergency. And then the president, the chairman of the Police Service Commission, as he then was, Chief Simon Okeke, who was a civilian, would say, okay, we'll give you approval, anticipated approval. They would do that several times just to satisfy their own desires. After they did it a few times, we put our feet down and we said, no, you can't do this way. The reason the Police Service Commission was set up was so that it could be a regulatory agency for the police. So whatever the president wants achieved, bring it, and we'll look at it with the council in full session. We observe all the rules, we observe due process, and we do what is needed to be done. So every IG prefers shortcuts because they still see the Police Service Commission as a roadblock to the exercising ultimate power, exercising power the way they want to do it. So, and then they would bring a list, want to promote some people over and above other people. We set some rules. We have some rules. 3 years performance evaluation report when you bring, and the person does not have any issues with discipline, then he can be promoted, provided there are vacancies in the next grade and there is money to cover it. We ensured that we had a master list of all the policemen and policewomen in Nigeria. And each time they brought a list for promotion, we had to carefully look through the system, the master list, to ensure that there was equity, there was fairness in the promotion system. What used to happen in the past was very different, drastically different, because there's a lot of corruption in the police. I don't know what the situation is now. When we did the first round of promotion, some of the policemen working with us came and said, no be so we do have now. How can you promote people without Ghana must go? It shocked many of us because we thought we were there to make the police better, to make the police a much respected institution, so that they too would be proud of what they were doing. And that didn't happen. I also know that the policemen, particularly at the lower rungs, are very badly treated. A lot of them are just sent out to the streets during the rains, no raincoats. They go out during the harmattan, no sweater. I mean, in the earlier days of our republic, that never happened. The policemen were fully kitted. Today, you see policemen who are not wearing the correct uniform, or were wearing tattered uniform, or they wear slippers, because a lot has gone wrong in the system. There used to be police tailors that will sew police uniform exactly the way the police wants them. I don't know whether those tailors are still there today. What I hear is that senior officers say, well, go and buy your uniform, go and make your uniform, go and buy your boots. That is not the right thing to do. So if you talk to policemen at the lower level, that's what they'll tell you. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. They will tell you that even their seniors take part of their salary. I don't know how the salaries are paid, whether that is possible or not. But the police needs a lot of reforms in terms of the package of their welfare, their retirement benefits, their pension and gratuity, and the salaries. The salaries and allowances ought to be raised substantially because they're doing a very, very dangerous job. The police job is more risky now because there are lots of small arms in the place. There are lots of sophisticated criminals now who come from different parts of the continent and the country, and they are devilish. They use all kinds of tactics. They have bomb-making knowledge through the internet and so on. There is a lot of sophistication in crime, but I am not sure that the police has risen to that level. I don't think at this point we should be recruiting school-set people as policemen. I think we should upgrade it. Maybe take it to OND level so that we can upgrade their own skills to match, in fact, surpass the skills of the criminals that they have to deal with.
Well, Mr. Ekpu, if I may just come in here, I mean, you were a member of the Police Service Commission for many years. In the introduction, we said member of the Police Service Commission. We should have said former member of the Police Service Commission. But you had very significant experience. But I don't think you have answered Tundun's question yet. Tundun was asking the question, the police, they are demoralized, so it seems, up to a point that the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, while trying to build confidence, is now telling policemen that they should defend themselves if they are assaulted by any member of the public. They lost police stations. They lost about 22 of their men in the recent crisis. But demand number 4 by Nigerian youths is about the police, how they can be reorientated. Demand number 5 is about how their salaries can be increased. As someone who has been in the Police Service Commission, who observed the police at close quarters, what else do you think Nigeria or Nigerians or state governments can do to rebuild the morale of the average policeman who says he's treated like a downtrodden in Nigeria?
It's a pity that the police men and police women are not well treated in Nigeria. And I suspect that it is the way they are treated by the police authorities that they've decided to take it out on the people they meet on the streets. They treat people on the street because I consider it to be transferred aggression. It's a pity that some policemen were killed during this protest. That should not have happened. But the protest grew from a peaceful protest into a wild protest, hijacked by people who were either hired to disrupt the protest or people who took advantage of the protest to to engage in nefarious activities. We have to appeal to the police to get back to their work. You can't have a system without the police. If the police refuse to go back to their work, we'll all be in deep trouble. Yes, we have reservations about the performance of our police, but our police are an essential part of our democracy, essential part of our security, and we must show respect to them. I don't understand why people burnt police stations. They burnt police stations maybe because they wanted to steal some arms. But those are not the people who we need to take care of the police. Those people would prefer that we don't have a police force. But the regular members of the committee want a police force that is well-trained, that is well-paid, well-catered for, so that they will also perform their duties fairly and dispassionately, with a lot of sympathy for human beings, with reduced violence, and so on and so forth. That is the kind of police force that we have to build. A few years ago, the National Assembly tried to change the name from Nigeria Police Force to Nigeria Police. The idea was that the force there gives them the impression that they must always shoot, that it doesn't give them the impression that there is civil police. That has not happened. We still call them the Nigeria Police Force. I don't know whether that affects their mentality, and they think that everything has to be done by force. I read in the papers that in one of the states, I think Delta states, policemen or soldiers who caught people who were breaking the curfew actually just told the people, we're not going to shoot you, just park, we'll assign you to park refuse. That is sensible. That is fair. That is sensible. And I think that that is a kind of attitude that a lot of policemen must be trained to take on board. Respect the rights of Nigerians. Nigerians are not going to go away. They will continue to protest because there's a lot to protest about. But in handling the protest, you must be very, very civil. You don't go out shooting people. I don't know what happened to the view that they must buy water cannons and pepper spray and so on. Those are some of the equipment that people use in civilized countries to disperse rioters or protesters and so on. They don't just go out with guns and shoot people down. Once you shoot, you have problems because violence breeds violence. And that is what has happened in the last few weeks. Once people were shot at Lekki, then the people went wild. That must not happen.
Thank you, sir. Speaking of nomenclature, what is your view of the federal government's hasty response to the demand of the NSAS protesters and disbanding NSAS and changing the name to SWAT? The federal government felt that that was being responsive on their part, but the general public rejected that as some kind of perfunctory cosmetic gesture. What's your take on that, sir?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I was asking about the change of nomenclature with SARS, from SARS to SWAT. What is your take on that? Was it responsiveness on the part of the federal government, or, as the general public deemed it at the time, just a perfunctory cosmetic gesture?
Sorry.
Sir, she's asking you about the decision on October 11 by the IGP, Inspector General, to talk about the replacement of SARS with SWAT, Special Weapons and Tactics Unit. And she says, what do you think of that?
Well, I don't know whether it's a means of putting new wine in old wine skin, because it was very rapid. The replacement was very, very quick, I think 24, 48 hours. And people were wondering whether they would be just recycling SARS and giving them a new name. I think they should have tarried a little while to be sure that the tempers have gone down and people will accept the new SARS. Of course, you need specialized tactical teams for special projects like armed robbery, kidnapping, people who are specially trained for that. And they are usually the elite squads in various countries. Look at the SEALs people from the Navy who came from the U.S. to deal with the situation that they had of the American who was kidnapped. Those are specifically trained, very top training for such operations. And we need such groups. I don't know whether they're doing it the right way, but we actually need it. They must be specifically and specially trained, rigorously trained, well paid, well taken care of, because the risks that they take are higher than what the regular, normal policeman and policewoman does. Those are tactical teams that every police system must have, designed to deal with specific assignments. And they have intelligence that is worked out to deal with such issues and fit them with appropriate equipment. I don't know how well equipped our system is. Do they have drones for gathering information? Do they have other communication? Do they have communication gadgets and so on? I have no idea how well equipped they are, but they need to be properly equipped, properly trained, and properly rewarded for us to have the kind of results that we want to have.
Right, sir. What's your take on the calls by some people for a police union? A union for police officers to fight for their own rights, like it's done in other climes. What's your take on that, sir? What's your take on the calls for a police union, a union for police officers?
Union of Police Officers?
Yeah, what's your take on that, sir?
You're asking whether there should be a union of police officers?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't know. I don't know whether police people have unions and fight for their system. In the past, there was an attempt for policemen to go on strike, and it seemed dangerous for policemen to want to go on strike because everything would be paralyzed and there will be a lot of crime. That is why civil society groups, civilians, and other lawyers, NBA, various groups must support the police, must support the system to take good care of the police so they don't go on strike. If the police goes on strike, we're all doomed. It's not like us who are going on strike. The universities are shut, and a lot of people don't care. Well, they say the children can stay at home. It's gone on for several months now. If the police are on strike for a month, we'll be doomed. There will be riots. There will be mayhem. So I don't think the police needs a union. And why they're coming up with the idea of a union is because they are not well taken care of. My advocacy is that the police must be better taken care of now than we have ever taken care of them. If we don't do that, it's not whether they have a union or not. You are not going to get the service that we want to get. You won't get it with a disgruntled police force. Now, for a few days now, the policemen refuse to go to work. We're all crawling and begging them because they are a very, very, very essential service. They get it right most of the time, but they get it wrong sometimes. But that's not the reason we should despise them. We should, they say, ordinary, or the friend of the child, the friend of the weak, the friend of the disabled, the friend of the elderly, and the friend of the regular human beings. But something goes wrong with the training. Are they trained to be friendly to all of these people? Are they trained to respect all people when they meet them, and young people to help them and so on? It depends on the training. They have to train them and retrain them and retrain them. It's not a union that will do the trick. It is the way we react, the way the authorities respect them, the way we raise money to take care of their welfare. The police, I repeat, must be better taken care of than we are doing now.
Well, thank you very much, sir, for joining us this morning on the morning show. Thank you indeed for your insights.